that they are contradictions, which is good. If you got something to say, stay away from the dark, then you also got in the book of Isaiah,
right?
In the book of Isaiah, I will give you the treasures of darkness. So anything that you saying there, they got something in there that's reversing that shit. You see what I'm saying? Isaiah 45, I will give you the treasures of darkness. That's pure melanin. And that's what we're talking about today, Isaiah 45. And if you read that and somebody need to break down and study that whole chapter, you'll find all kind of alchemical shit. Now, we know the book of Revelation is full of that stuff. But just interesting here in the Goddess Book of Days, Diane Stein, the 21st, October the 21st, and this is what it says, the Feast of the Black Christ.
Yes.
The Feast of the Black Christ in Panama. So that day ain't automatically something that you're supposed to disregard. It's called the Feast, and look at the lineup. The Feast of the Black Christ in Panama and the Virgin Islands.
That's right. Obatala.
And the black, he is Obatala, Apollo, Adonis, Osiris, Horus, Quetzalcoatl, Baal, Dionysus, Sunfather, Dambalawedo, Shango, Dumuzi, Tammuz, also the day of Osriel and Ursula. You see what I'm saying? A Slavic god. But my point here is every black god in the world lines up on that day.
Sure does. Sure does.
Including the Black Christ, which is known as El Cristo Negro in Latin America and in the Caribbean and in the Virgin Islands.
Right, right.
You see what I'm saying?
Yes.
You see, so my point here is this. Now, it was explained to me years ago on how this thing happens. There was supposed to be an event on 12/12/1994, and they had a whole 12/12/1994. People was looking for 12/12. So after 12/12 came and went, I was a little perplexed. I was like, well, what's up on the day? And the spirit world said, no, there's things that go on on those dates. They might not go on the physical,
right?
But they go on anyway. One of the things here is, if they're talking about a black Christ, and we know the Christ was, before it was usurped by Rome and made a historical person, it was talking about your own physical attainment and makeup. So if something don't go on out here,
it's in the spirit.
You see, don't mean it ain't going on the inside of you. Because ultimately, what is actually evolving is us. It's the same thing that happened. I went through a series of events in the last 6 months. You see what I'm saying? In the last 6 months. And we did see, I'm talking about my own spiritual attainment. Right. And on the outside, we saw all types of stuff that happened with earthquakes and all that type of stuff to say we was going through something. But the test was when I went through the Atlanta airport and they couldn't pick me up on the radar.
Right.
Which means you do go through things spiritually.
Right.
You do go through things inwardly.
Yes.
And because all of these gods that they're saying that is lined up like Osiris and Horus and stuff, that's talking about the stuff that's on the inside of us. So now don't get it twisted now to think because these are male deities. Remember now, each one of these male deities.
That's right.
Has to have a female side.
That's right.
There's none of them, including Jesus. Now, we know that Shiva turns into a woman. We know that Osiris was worshipped as a woman.
Right.
You see what I'm saying? We got Vishnu also as Mahoney, a woman form. We have Shango used to be half woman because he shared half of his body with Oya. They were androgynous together. And Oya and him split up. You see what I'm saying? In this world, that's the same thing happened. You know, when Adam came and they took the rib, but you got to realize the rib is also called ribeye. And ribeye is where you get the word rabbi, which means master. So Eve is Adam's master. Now, all of these, I don't care what deity you find around the world, they're going to have a feminine counterpart within them. Now, so now, we also have this with Jesus. Now, if you understand that the historical person didn't exist,
Right.
that was taken from a group of people that was Gnostic people that traveled up near Rome, and they was worshiping a Jesus that had all of its Gnostic counterparts and did the original motifs and the original knowledge. And later on, Rome took that and made it into a historical cult. You see what I'm saying? Well, Paul took that, and Paul was a government agent. You see what I'm saying? Double-crossed the Romans and the Jews. You see, so they made it a historical figure. So if it wasn't a historical figure, and it can go all the way, be traced all the way back to Horus, because you got to realize there's a thing called Horus and Harmaket. Horus, Maku. Harmaket is called Harmaku. And Harmaket is the Sphinx. People don't know. The Sphinx that sits in the middle of the earth is called Harmaket. It's also called Horus on the horizon. But it's also called, that's the Greek word Harmaket. The Egyptian word is Harmaku. Horus and Mayat together in a pyramid, because the ku means pyramid. And as if you see, Horus and Mayat is flanking the pyramid. They are guarding the pyramid. So Mayat is a form of the Christ too. Okay, now let's take this to the Coptic world. And in the Coptic world, we have a Jesus that was going to later day be barred by Rome and called Christianity. That you can get any Gnostic material that predates and that just, you know. So the Coptic world, they had a Jesus, and that Jesus, and that particular Jesus, his other half was Mary Magdalene. These were not historical people. There's twin souls that everybody got. Jesus' other half is Mary Magdalene. She's the whore. The whore represents the Kundalini energy. That's the feminine energy in him. She massages his feet just like Lakshmi does. So Lakshmi's Kundalini energy is called Shakti. She is the Shakti to Vishnu. Parvati is the Shakti Kundalini energy to Shiva. Well, the Shakti to Jesus is Mary Magdalene. You see what I'm saying? Which is nothing but a twin half of Jesus. It's one entity that is not a historical person. It's an entity that will live in the people in the future. You see what I'm saying? A race of people in the future that will have androgynous dual halves. This has nothing to do with homosexuality. This is talking about the nature where everybody has two counterparts. You see what I'm saying? To learn more about the androgyny, there's a book called Androgyny by June Singer. Androgyny by June Singer. It just came back out. It just came back out. It was out of print for a minute. Androgyny by June Singer. So the point I'm trying to make here is the lineup on this day that he's talking the 21st. You see what I'm saying? We're still talking about the rise of the gods or the goddesses. Period. Plural. You see what I'm saying? You see, so that's also what's happening with this type of thing. Now let's go on. There's a few things we got to deal with. A few things we got to deal with here. Let's see here. So they just put cell phones. The World Health Organization just declared cell phones as a, what do they call it, carcinogen. I think it's carcinogen, which could cause cancer.
Yes, a health
and a health risk. And I didn't know this. That on the back of all the cell phone boxes, they tell you not to hold it up to your ear.
They sure do.
All of them.
Yes,
they tell you not to hold it up to your ear. So where did this come from? They always put that. But remember now, we was trained on landlines.
That's right.
You see what I'm saying? So we automatically put it up to the ear.
Yes.
You see what I'm saying? All of the cell phone things that says don't hold it up to your ear. You see what I'm saying?
Yes.
And so they have now made this thing a health risk. Now, my point here is, when I heard this, I said, well, you got to think spiritual. Think spiritual. Think spiritual. You don't want to think with fear. You got to think spiritual.
Right.
This might be an ascension mechanism at the time, because we talk about The inner ear melanin is the doorway to the temple.
Correct. Yes.
You see, it's the doorway to the temple, and we know they got rid of LPs and and different technologies. So you hear the music, but you don't hear the music.
Right.
You see, so the cell phone also. You see what I'm saying? If we're talking frequencies here, we might be talking about a future ascension piece.
Right.
Because the pineal gland, which we go into today, the third eye,
right,
is the doorway to the temple. But remember now, the inner ear melanin is where sight starts from.
Yes.
So sight starts from hearing.
Yes. From hearing.
And then it develops into sight. Hearing represents another dimension.
Yes. Another
sound. Even when you listen to this room CD, you're gonna hear the cosmic space. There's noises out there. You see what I'm saying? So, and they talk about the inner ear melanin.
Right.
Dr. Richard King's book is going to be reprinted. It should be coming out sometime. The one called African Origins of Biological Psychiatry.
Yes.
Richard King's book, African Origins of Biological Psychiatry. And as you know, Richard King is one of our pioneers in the melanin field.
Yes.
In the melanin field. So this is very interesting. This is very interesting. So we're gonna look at this cell phone thing. You see what I'm saying?
Right.
And see where it goes. But meanwhile, don't hold it down. Shit up to your ear.
Right.
Yeah.
Yes, and you can definitely, with the cell phones, one of the things that's also interesting is that they use so much of the voice over technology. They use so much of the voice over IP, so they're actually recording your voice, and what the person is hearing, it's actually a different frequency when it comes out on the other end. And a lot of that technology is there, and sometimes you can pick up different sounds. I know I can with my cell phone. Then I can actually pick up without using other types of phones. So, yeah. Mm-hmm.
Right.
Yeah.
Now, this is interesting.